What you're looking at here is a whole bunch of Macs. We have a stack of Macs, as it were, that I was able to pick up local here. If you follow me on Twitter, you may have seen me picking those up. And I'm not much of a retro Mac guy. I don't really have many and didn't have much experience, but it's hard to pass up a lot like this. So we have a assortment of computers from the late 80s to early 90s and a few monitors to go with it as well. I don't know the status on any of these things. We're just going to kind of go through each machine, open it up, see what's in there. I don't even know what parts are in there. And then see if any of them work. Maybe none of them work. I don't really know. So that'll be a fun part to experience here and explore at the same time. So the only thing I did with these machines was that I kind of used an air duster to blow them out and then wiped them down before I brought them down to my basement because they were pretty dirty from a long time of storage. So they definitely see some use. You might even be able to see some of the grody-ness on the keyboard here. We'll get to that eventually. But let's open up each one, see what's inside, and see if they work.
Welcome back to Rick's Random Retro, where we ask the important questions. Like, if a stack of Macs could stack a Mac, how many Macs could a stack of Macs stack?
Very first, we have a absolutely lovely Macintosh 2 Ci. To give you an idea, this would be at the same time, kind of like the Mac SE or Mac HD. So again, I'm not a retro Mac guy, so anything I say, take it with a grain of salt. I just looked up a little bit about these machines. I don't know a ton about them. I'm excited about this one though, because I do love the design language of this. It's very nice and late 80s. So on the front, you can see it's just a Mac. All we have here is basically just a floppy a floppy drive, a couple power reset buttons, and that's about it, indicators. So it's very, very handsome design from this era. And if we turn around to the back, there's not a lot of surprises here. We basically have your external floppy, SCSI connector, and then the video card output, and we have a mystery card here. We don't know what that is. Got your ADB connectors and everything. You have a pass-through power to power a monitor, which we'll turn it on here in a second, take a look. But let's crack the case on this one and see what hides inside. Now, keep in mind, the plastic on these is pretty brittle from what I understand. Brittle, sorry. So we have to be a little careful opening these. Hopefully we don't snap a tab as we're doing this. And like a glove. Now, I did actually blow this out, so I know it did open. Because, yeah, you don't want to risk anything when it comes to dust and everything, so I did blow it out considerably. And it's a pretty standard fare here now. It's hard to see if there's any blown caps or anything like that, because there's always the risk with these old machines. And it looks like we do have what I understand is a cache card in here. That will be the cache expansion card that pretty much everyone used for these machines to free up some memory and everything. So that's a nice welcome. Let's see if we can get that out here. Yeah, there's a standard cache card. Adds, I'm not sure how much cache it adds, but yeah, Macintosh 2 Ci cache card. Goes into one of these NuBus connectors. And then we have another card here, which I'm not entirely sure what that is. If I can get it out of here without breaking something. It does look like this is a network card. Asante MC3NB NIC. So yeah, we have a Ethernet port here, plus then whatever this connector is. I'm not even sure what that is, but it also goes into one of these NuBus connectors here in the back, and that's kind of like the proprietary, I think, Proto-PCI setup or whatever. The Proto-PCI type of expansion board. And we have an original SCSI hard drive, so that's the question, if that still works. I mean, I'm not going to take this machine too much apart. We'll just kind of give it a try. It looks like the memory has been fully expanded. There's just everything is in there. I mean, we'll try out the machine and see if it works, right? That's all there is left to do. So I'm going to button back up and put a monitor on here, and then we'll give it a shot. Alright, so we have the Macintosh 2 Ci here plugged into an M1212 monitor, I believe, which is a little newer than the actual computer. The keyboard is definitely more era appropriate than ones that I have. This came from a Mac Classic, I believe. So again, I'm not a Mac expert here by a long shot. So I don't know if the monitor works. I don't know if the computer works. I don't know if the keyboard works. I don't know if this very lovely Kensington Clearly OEM mouse works. I really have no idea. Everything's plugged in. We may get a puff of smoke. It might boot up. The hard drive might be dead. I really don't know. So let's find out. Let's start with the monitor, see if that turns on. Nope, deader than a doornail. Helps if it's actually plugged in. That might really help. Alright, so we got a light. And if my sources tell me correctly now, I should be able to just push the power button here. Oh, it started up. It is started. Do we have an image? Nothing yet. Oh! The monitor is extremely dim, and it might just be brightness that's set very low. Oh, there we go. Look at that. It booted on the first. I think I got the refresh rate correct, because I looked it up, and these monitors only run at a very specific, for us non-Mac users, this runs at like a 60.7 hertz refresh rate, which is very unique to the Macs, I believe. And I tried to tune the camera to that before, so if we see it rolling, and my apologies, but I think that was as close as I can get. This just booted. Like that. Let's see what we got. Your zip drive is not connected or off. Your copy or personal backup will not be active unless you switch. Okay, blah, blah, blah. We do not have a zip drive hooked in. That's kind of to be expected here. The mouse is working. Announcer not installed. So this does have a lot of junk on here already. Look at that. It's just booted. Let's see if I can... I think there's a about this Macintosh here. So yeah, it looks like we have 8 mega memory installed. And I think there's a way to... See, again, now I'm like so lost because I don't know how to navigate a Macintosh at all. See, it's a part of exploration. If you know something about Macintoshes, you're sitting here screaming at me now, why aren't you doing that? Why aren't you going there? I am just pleased that this thing just booted on the first try. That is something. But I don't know how to look at what version this is or anything. I'm so lost with Macintosh. So it appears I should actually take a look and see on the display I have up, because here it literally says System Software 7.001, or sorry, 0.7.01. I got it on third try there. So, a very basically built machine with expanded memory and networking. So this came then from a university lab, so again was probably likely used as kind of like a control machine in a lab for other machines. Or the teacher's machine or something like that. It's clearly very specifically designed here for networking duty and nothing else. But the fact that it's just booted on the first try, I don't need grinding from the hard drive. Question is how long that will last, if this machine will survive. But that's a pretty good start, and we'll see what we get to for the other ones. For this one, I'm just going to call this a success. We will, cover this video, or this machine in a video in the future, scrubbing it down and everything like that. But I just want to see if this works, and it does. That's awesome. That's a great start. On to the next machine. Okay, then moving on from that success, I got a good feeling about this one too, I guess. We'll see. This is a Macintosh Quadra 610. As a frame reference, these are still 68K Macs, meaning they have the Motorola 68000 series processor in it. I think this one has a 6030 maybe, or 40? I don't know. Again, not a Mac guy. I'm sure someone will correct me here. And we'll dig into this more at some point as well, but kind of like a slimline design, kind of a cramped one design to have a monitor, of course, on top, like most of these, and we will try that as well. It looks like in pretty good shape. It's, of course, has some wear and tear from sitting in a lab with some Sharpie on it. It's been well loved, to say the least. Got some yellowing and everything, but these are, as far as I understand, pretty, middle of the range machines. This is a 610, of course. There's definitely more advanced ones, especially the ones with DOS compatibility cards, which this one does not have. So we're going to open this one as well, and hopefully the snaps are... Actually, let's take a look at the back first. See, we have a similar port arrangement here with power, video card. I'm not sure what this guy is here. Maybe someone can update me on that one. Got some stereo in and out, or audio in and out, and ADB ports, printer ports, things like that. Pretty much the same stuff going on there. So, let's crack this one open. Make sure it's actually in frame. There we go. It's hard. I'm trying to do multiple cameras here, and it's difficult to get it just right in frame so I can get everything. So this also opens up with kind of two snaps at the back here, so we're going to go ahead and do that. That did not snap or break, and then it just kind of pops off. And I have to say, this kind of openability or ease of access is, of course, something that Apple kind of pushed pretty hard for a while there, but then they let that fall to the wayside, of course. And nowadays, that's not exactly the case. But back then, 80s, 90s, stuff like that, Apple was pretty good about being able to have easy access to your computer, which, I think everyone should have that, of course. On the inside here, pretty standard layout. Looks like we don't have any expansion cards at all. I think it has a riser here and a card maybe, or a special card that fits up here. We don't have that. And these little neat little plastic plug here. This is where the optional CD-ROM drive goes, which I do not have for this one. Only the floppy drive, which again, I blew all this stuff out. We have the original SCSI hard drive. Looks like 160 megabytes. And it looks pretty untouched. Not even expanded memory in here. I think this might be the only, there's original memory modules maybe. And very, very basic setup. This looks like a pretty run-of-the-mill Quadro 610. So I'm not expecting anything fantastic out of this one, but above all, let's see if it boots. So I'll put the case back on, slap monitor on. We're gonna try the second monitor and see if that works. And then see what we got. I'm feeling lucky. Alright, so that's all hooked up. Again, this is the Quadro 610. We do have it hooked up with a lovely Apple monitor M4222, I believe. It should have a foot on here to raise it up, but as we were transporting it, that foot just basically snapped in pieces. And I think that's the risk with most of this stuff, with pretty brittle plastic from this era. Not all these plastic things are going to survive, and you know, it is what it is. So we're going to give it a try anyway and see if it works. So first off, we have the monitor. And that turns on. So let's see, I think we just push anything. Oh, I think we have to push the power. Wow, we had a chime and everything. Chime. We have spin up of the hard drive. I hear the SCSI spinning around there. Don't know if we have an image or not yet, but do hear some clicking in the monitor, which may not be a good sign. Ooh, it's not hitting the synchronization there very well. Well, we have an image, but let's just say it's not centered there. I think I have the right refresh rate as well. Again, that's a problem. I think this monitor may be having some problems. So it is booting. The machine is booting, but the monitor, I know the frequency is not liked here by this one or something, but it's definitely clicking. I think this means we have a little bit of a newer Mac OS than the last one. It's in color. That's cool. That's nice. We'll see. I'm not sure if this is just like a fine adjustment we can do here. This does open up. Of course, it's a little hard now without the foot here. Let's see. I think we can... Look at that. All right. Beep. The system software on this disk is designed for starting up from a floppy disk only. Please reinstall the system software from the disk or CD that came with your computer. No can do. So far, besides that little weird clicking on the monitor, and maybe it just needs to warm up, and a lot of these monitors, of course, are going to have problems with that. I'm not sure that comes across, but it looks really good, actually, right now. I forgot you can, of course, adjust and mess with these things. It's pretty nice that it comes with that right now. I believe this monitor is pretty area appropriate, but it's definitely having some issues. I'm guessing, you know, who knows, an internal circuitry on this, and probably take it apart and clean it out and nothing else. The computer may not have shut down properly last time it was used. Well, that's to be expected. So, of course, I am using that mouse now plugged in behind here. But look at this. This looks a little newer, so that's a neat thing to see. Let's see what we got here, if this will actually respond. So, yeah, the monitor is definitely clicking. So we have 7.5.3 with what looks like 36 or 38 megabytes of RAM installed. I don't know much about that beyond that, but someone used this for fun stuff here. The folder is called Dinner, so who knows what's on here. The fact that it's booted in the first place is pretty cool. Again, these monitors, I'm not sure. Who knows what problems are on here. I'm not a very monitor repair expert either. These are not even adjustable. I think they're locked in. I think that, no, they don't turn at all. Yeah, it's clicking. Having a whole bunch of weird stuff, so I'm guessing this one needs a full service and recap and who knows what. But at least the machine is booting. Booted on the first try, too. We're having really good luck so far. Of course, you know, there's different games you can do on this and all that stuff. We'll probably do a deep dive on each machine separately, but at least it booted. Second one booted, first try. Will we repeat that? We'll see. On to the next machine. All right, 2 down and 2 to go. Let's see. So we have a Power Macintosh 7180 AV, which is a Power PC at this point. Then Apple had switched over to using the Power PC platform instead of 68K. So that's more where I'm familiar with the Macs or the newer ones. When it comes to a little bit newer ones, of course, then morphing into the G3 and G4, etc., etc. Again, I'm paraphrasing. I'm sure I'm saying it wrong. Not a Mac guy, but I'm learning. And I think this is a pretty handsome design. I really like it as far as like a mid-90s, late 90s sensibility. I guess this would be mid-90s, but this machine clearly is pretty beige as well from, you know, age. It used to be more white beige, but now it's definitely more yellowed, and that's fine too. But it's definitely, as I understand it, the 78-100 is definitely a middle of the pack machine. That's not, you know, special in that sense. The AV does give us a little more options. But we have a floppy drive, of course, and then a CD-ROM drive. We'll again see if this machine boots, because we had pretty good luck so far. Got a couple of power and reset buttons down here, and then a indicator light. So let's take a look at the back. Spinning this around. So on the back, we got a bit of an assortment of ports here. You got the power, it's same here as well. I'm not sure what that is. Reset switch maybe? And again, that one, I'm still not sure. This looks like a very specific kind of video connector that we're not using in this case, right? So, and then we have what looks to be an additional video card here. Then we got your standard assortment of ports as far as like ADB, speaker in and or speaker out and microphone in. So it'll be interesting to see what card this is here. That looks like something a little different here. And these machines also have kind of like a sliding mechanism. They all open up in a similar fashion. Let's see if we can spin around here so it's still in frame. And the screws have already been taken out on the back, I believe. So this should, yeah, just slides out like that and comes right off. Again, you can't really, it's weird that Apple stepped away from this kind of modular accessibility and everything, because you can get to everything in the machine now. So yeah, we got the original SCSI hard drive, 700 megabytes. SCSI again, like I said. And it's definitely dirty. I did blow this out considerably. Looks like we have two memory modules that are both populated. Memory slots that are both populated. We have a video card here. Looks like, I'm not entirely sure what this is, but yeah, Philips, VLSI, BT. I'm not sure. There's so many different model numbers on here. Probably, I'm guessing, just a standard video card of some variety. Apple Computer Incorporated, so this would have been something that either shipped with the machine or bought from Apple directly, not an aftermarket one or anything. Which is sitting in the expansion slot here, not the new bus or whatever, and I'm not familiar with the different type of expansion ports that Apple used at the time, but let's just see if I can put this back in here. There, slots right in. It's so easy to gain access to this machine and work in it, and it's really sad that Apple went away from that, but here we are. I blew this one out. This one was really dirty. It looks like a motherboard 1993, 94, 95 revision B. Again, a Macintosh, Power Macintosh, sorry, 7180 AV. And I think the AV has to do with the ports on the video card that it can accept S-video in and out. So you can actually pipe S-video through here. Could be wrong on that, but let's put it back together. We'll use that same 4222 monitor and see if it works this time with this machine, because it's also kind of period accurate there. Hopefully it does. Let's find out. Okay, so we had luck with a few of the machines here now, so this is the third one. Let's see if it boots up. I think it should be plugged in. This keyboard is definitely grodier, but we'll get to power up the monitor again and see if it doesn't shoot any sparks, unless it was already on. Might have already been on, there we go. And then we're going to push the power button and see. Oh, we have immediate power on. And a dong. Not a bong, but a dong. Dongs are cool. Anyway, it booted, I think. It's still booting, so we don't have an image yet, but I'm not sure if the monitor ended up being off. Or there, now it comes on. No. I'll check the power cable on this guy again here. Seems a little finicky. We have a blinking monitor light, which might mean there's no video output or an unsupported mode, I suppose. Let me double check. Connection's in there. Do we meet our first match? The first one that will not turn on? I mean, it turned on. There was a dong there. Fortunately, I don't have a VGA adapter, so I can't tell if... That works. Sounds smooth even. So we have a blinking light on the monitor, which could be the monitor or not, so I can switch the other monitor as well, which of course, well, I think is color. I'll switch to the other monitor and see if that helps. Now we'll have the other monitor hooked up here now, and I kind of like this aesthetic more. Aesthetic, hard to say for me. It kind of goes with it pretty well. I think that the other monitor is probably more period accurate, but I mean, a lot of people probably kept their old monitor as they upgraded, so this is a fair trade. The monitor is on based on the light there, it looks like, so we're going to try and power it on and see what we get. Nothing. Did I get the power cable in? Oh, it did boot. I don't hear any dong now, but there's no speakers on this monitor, so the monitor is turning on. See if we get an image here or not. Maybe. Oh, hey, look at that. All right, first try, right? So the monitor works here. I'm not sure if this particular machine's having problems. If it's the other monitor, I'm almost inclined to say this machine. The monitor did work on the other computer, of course, but we're not getting much here either, so it's very possible this hard drive is toast, or, you know, who knows what, this maybe just needs to reload or something along those lines. Oh, there we go. We're getting spinning sounds. Mac OS. I stand corrected, never mind. There's a color monitor too. Nice. Welcome to Mac OS. Well, I thank you very much, Apple guy. What's that guy anyway? Does that have a name? I don't know. Probably. Yeah, this is pretty good success so far. Now, not saying that these machines will always boot every time and work every time we mess with them, but at least in this test here, it did start up now, second time. So I guess I'm not sure if it's the monitor or the computer, but of both. I do really like the aesthetic of this monitor. It's just got that nice kind of like angled square design kind of thing going on. It really goes well with the other computers too. It's running pretty slow. I think this is probably still System 7. Maybe it's an 8. Or even they crammed 9 on here, I don't know. I don't know what to ship with. Definitely does not like this, it looks like. It's running either very, very slow or just not made for this. Also, the nice little detail of the caps lock button is a mechanical switch here that turns on and off. So we're getting some graphic corruption and the mouse is not moving around, so this is a great start. I think this machine might either benefit from just a reload, or I have to assume also that I think it's already hard frozen. Caps lock is triggering, but numlock is not. Hard drive might be going out, could be memory problems, or who knows what. So this is a semi-success, I guess. I mean, it's kind of working, but kind of not. I mean, kind of yay? I don't know. We'll have to dig into this machine more in detail, because it is one I'd like to really give a fair shake at, because I really like this era, and I think that a lot of the games and things I'd be interested in are going to be on these early power PCs. And I think this was a pretty typical machine for, you know, home use and that kind of stuff. So clearly it's got some problems. Again, maybe a reload is enough. We'll take a look at it in another video and dig into deeper. So we'll call it maybe on this one. Anyway, so let's move on to the last machine, which is our tower. All right, with that dubious result on our last machine, the 7100, we move on to the Power Macintosh 8180, which you can probably figure is pretty closely related to the other one, also running the PowerPC platform here. But you can see the case is missing a lot of the dry bay covers and everything. Not too surprising, I think, on these machines. I understand that this plastic is pretty brittle here and it's come loose, especially the ones I've looked up. A lot of them are missing pieces of the front here. Kind of expected on these machines. So we'll see if I end up keeping this one or not. It's not exactly aesthetically pleasing, but maybe a project for someone else at some point. But we'll spin around the back and take a look. Since this is a tower, whoops, there are definitely some more expansion options here, and that's probably the biggest bonus with this type of machine, right? So let's see, we do have, let's see if I can get this in frame here, it's a little taller. We have the typical assortment of otherwise Mac ports we've seen on the other machines. We also have, looks like a video card, and then I'm guessing this is a AVN or something. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but we'll take a look on the inside here in a second. Again, these are pretty easy to open. I think it's basically just modular. Make sure this is being captured here. I think the entire... That's right, we need to unscrew this first before I break anything. I swear I sort of sometimes know what I'm doing. There's always the risk again with this brittle plastic just exploding, but it is just occupational hazard at this point. There we go, so the entire... Let's see if I can spin this around so we can see it. That's being captured up there. The entire reaching middle. Comes apart like that. Again, pointing to Apple's modularity in design. Of course, you can't see anything here now. We'll turn this dude around here. And again, it's a standard tower design, if that makes sense. Kind of what you expect out of this, right? So put it on its side. It definitely has, oops, and the, by golly, I think this is an extra hard drive in here, and that's just kind of flopping around in there. This was definitely upgraded for, I'm not sure this is connected. I don't think it is. It's just another hard drive sitting here. I'm assuming that just died at some point, so they just opted not to do anything with it. So, all right, fair enough. We have a video card down here. Or at least a memory expansion card of some variety. A video card. Let's see. And there goes that plastic piece. I'm not shocked. Yep, plastic pieces are breaking everywhere due to my manhandling. So we have a video card here. Looks like just a standard Apple one, I guess. Doesn't really say much on here. And there we go. Apple Computer Incorporated. So this would be a Apple branded video card. And next to that, we have, yeah, these. I'm sorry, everyone. I'm just snapping stuff left and right. So I don't know exactly what this is. Spigot Nubus Copperhead SuperMac technology. It's a SuperMac. SuperMac card. I don't know what that does. It just has one, what looks like a RCA connector. I don't even know what that does or what it is, but I'm sure we'll find out. Of course, the plastics in here are just, yeah, they're not really holding up. I'm not shocked it took this long to find this brittle plastic. That's all I hear about looking at these older machines, and this one seems to be pretty bad on that front. We'll see if it makes it worth keeping or not, or if I just pass it on to someone else who likes the project. See if I can get this card back in its slot, because it's not that easy. Alright, I promise I did actually get that video card in eventually. And yeah, it's really deteriorating pretty badly, you know. It has pieces coming off from it everywhere, and I'm sure if I just like very, very gently baby this thing, you could just save the plastic, but I think it's just so far gone. We'll see, everything's just kind of snapping and dropping out, and I guess I hear the cry of a million Mac addicts that are hearing this poor thing explode, but it is what it is. We're going to at least try and boot it and see if it works. That might be a nice indicator to see if the machine is worth keeping or not. I'm not totally sure, but this is definitely the one that's worst off in this bunch here. So again, thinking of where this probably had a full duty cycle in the university lab or who knows what for years and years. So it had a good life too. Let's try and plug in a monitor and keyboard and all the good stuff and see if it starts. Okay, everything's hooked up. This may be our last hurrah then to see if this particular machine works. The monitor is on. Let's pluck a little monitor here that's been chugging along just fine. So let's boot her up. Oh, that hard drive sounds. There was a ding, dong, bong, whatever you want to call the Mac thing. And yeah, the hard drive does not sound great, but I think I heard the monitor just turn on. We'll see. It does take a while for this monitor to boot up, I noticed in the last couple times I tried here now. We'll see if we get it. It keeps dinging on me, so I'm guessing. Oh, we have an image. We have an image. If that actually means that it's working or not, I think it's booting. Wow. This little, this is the tower that could, I guess, is still alive somehow. Wow. That's impressive considering what this machine seems to have gone through. Again, this is going to be pretty similar to the 7100, I think, as far as performance goes. Like a 40 megahertz processor, maybe? Thereabouts? Or is it much faster? I don't know. Might be faster. Actually, 80, of course, because it says 80 on it. I'm a Mac expert, you can trust me. So it does look to be booting. That's a bit of a surprise considering the state of the machine and that other hard drive. And that hard drive sounds, I'm not sure if it's coming across on a microphone here. But let me move my microphone, you can really hear this is a hard drive. Because that is a substantial hard drive noise there. Again, it's not covered by panels, so you know that might not be helping it. But I mean, at the boot here now, I really like this monitor. I don't know why. It's very, very clear. It's a weird monitor because it's a fixed resolution, 640 by 480 specifically at 66.70 hertz or whatever. Very, 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 very specific Mac resolution, and it will not work with pretty much most scenarios or PC ones. Our clock is not set correctly. Mouse works. This one seems to be in better shape, at least from the machine perspective, running than the 7100 did, so, because that one does not sound good. But yeah, the hard drive, definitely noisy. We have a CD-ROM drive. Oh, that's close right away. So what do we got here? We have Mac OS 8.5 straight up. Looks like we got 48 meg of RAM in it. Pretty bog standard machine then, I'm guessing. Not much else to say about it. We can do system profiler. No, that's an 8 here now. I have to let it profile and see what we have. This may be the most modern, or it is the most modern one out of the bunch here. And it's really sad that the plastic is so bad, because otherwise, I mean, it's a cool machine. So yeah, 8.5, Power Macintosh, 80 megahertz, PowerPC 601 processor, and that's pretty much it. Exciting. EVG 8150. Again, I don't know much about finding devices and volumes here. I don't know much about these Macs. It's fun to explore. Looks like we have a display card here. This mouse is not like this Surface. Let's see what the display card is. Built-in DRAM, HPV display card, Apple Computer Incorporated. So, all right, well, the machine works. Again, that's pretty exciting. So we have basically a 444 machine booting with the question mark down on the 7100, which again did sort of boot, but yeah, I think that hard drive needs a reload. Otherwise, we have at least two good known ones, and then this one potentially then that seems to work okay. It is a lovely complete package here, I guess, with everything, including the very, very professional-looking original Apple mouse here from Kensington. But it's sad state with the case here, because the question is how much can I use this, and I could use it as a streaming machine or something like that, or upgrade it that way when you don't see it, so that is an option. But anyway, that's pretty cool. Let's sum this all up. And there we have it, our stack of Macs. We've gone through all of them. So just to kind of summarize, we had a Mac 2 Ci here that worked pretty well, with no problem really. We had the Quadra 610, which also booted just fine, with no problems that I can tell. We had the 7100, which definitely did have some issues. That might need a reload, or the hard drive is just shot, or who knows what's going on there. But that machine is definitely struggling, to say the least. Not a clean boot by a long shot. And then, of course, we have the one that I'm most surprised about, and that's the 8100. Based on the appearance, it certainly looks pretty beat up. But sure enough, it booted, and it did a good try there to run nicely. The hard drive sounded pretty terrible. I think that's probably one of the first things to go with all these are going to be those Gussie hard drives. Fortunately, there's a lot of cool aftermarket solutions for that. So definitely look forward to seeing future videos with these machines as I go through them, maybe upgrade them a little bit, kind of get them ready and you know, properly taken care of. We had two monitors, of course. We had the older monitor here, which I think was a 1297 maybe. I'll put the right model number down there. And then the 4222, which did work. However, it was making a kind of an iffy clicking there. I'm not so entirely sure on that, but overall, I can't really complain. This is a nice haul of retro computers. I don't have much experience with this particular era, but I'm excited to dig into it even more. So I really can't complain. That was a really good outcome based on, well, where these machines came from. They served a long, good life in a university setting, and then were stored for many, many years. And the fact that any of them boots is a pretty good accomplishment, I would say. So I'm really happy with this. Hopefully this was enjoyable to watch, and look forward to future videos with these machines as we deep dive into them, and most likely stream with them. So, like always, I appreciate you watching, and until next time.
If you enjoyed this video, feel free to check out some of my other ones. I cover a wide range of retro topics, often focusing on retro computers. You can also find me on my website or on social media. I also live stream every Thursday, 8:45 p.m. Central, so be sure to check that out.